So I made a video called Ruminations on Love, and I got a comment on it by a cigarette smoking man, which I'm also smoking a cigarette. um, he's been commenting on some of my stuff recently, and he was kind of talking about psychoanalytic looks on love, and he was also talking about the hormone oxytocin, and that's kind of like a romantic thing. And I guess in this video, I kind of want to talk about like more long-standing, more transcendent. Kind of, he was talking about how we should kind of how it's we can kind of look at like a real deeper form of love in like the way Greek nous. So like a more long-standing, like more real thing that is deeper and more real. So he was kind of talking about that. And personally, I have yet to experience um, any kind of real, more deeper, real, long-standing love. I mean, I had thought twice that I had, but that it kind of ended up not being so. Um, so you can go back to that video, and he wrote a nice little description about psychoanalysts about love. So I want to talk about a little bit about Eric Fromm in this video a little bit, and I want to talk about a couple different kinds of love from from Greek words, and basically from Plato and Aristotle a little bit. So. Um, I mean, I'm not totally familiar with psychoanalysis in its more modern terms. I mean, I know about it with respect to Freud pretty well, and I know some of it with, and I mean, I know a good amount with respect to Lacan, but not really beyond that. And I also know about Eric Fromm also. Um, but he kind of really gave a really good explanation of psychoanalytic looks on love. So I think you can go, if you go back to that one video and look at that, he gives a really nice explanation of that. So the first kind of love I want to talk about is agape, which is a it is a genuine form of love, and it is love of God for man. That's one way of looking at it, but it's also love for everyone in a deep platonic sense. Christians have looked at it as the way God loves his children. It also can be looked at about charity, but how you love everybody. That's a deep form of love, but it's platonic and it is widespread. First off, second is Eros. Eros is a love of sexual passion, which I don't think that has any deep meaning. I feel like that when you're engaging in that can feel like it has a lot of deep meaning. I mean, that is sort of something that I feel like that if there is a deep, long-standing, real, transcendent sort of love going on, that this sort of Eros is, you know that doing that can be a expression of that, or can be almost becoming one in some sort of way. So that's as far as that goes. But in most ways, Eros, that sort of sexual passion, or that can be felt for a person, but can be also appreciating the beauty of that person. So it's kind of is material. Sort of is more material than it is more love of that person. It's appreciating the passion. It's appreciating the act of doing those sort of things. That sort of the whole sexual thing happening. There's and however, I do believe that there's a good, deep, long-standing sort of thing of doing that when you are in Pragma, which is what I'm sort of going to explain. And Pragma was basically elaborated by Fromm. So then there's philia. Philia is affectionate, is affectionate regard. It's friendship. It's more specific than the whole agave thing. It's friendship. It's platonic. It's dispassionate, virtuous love. And Aristotle talked about this a lot in his Nicomachean Ethics. This sort of friendship, this deep friendship. So there is something real happening in philia, but it's not. Basically, what I am sort of trying to get at is there being some sort of real, deep, transcendent love between two people in a not only a romantic and Eros kind of way, but also a deep, long-standing thing. So this is basically when you are all in and you are sharing yourself with this other person, almost as if you are merging yourself into this unity with this other person. That kind of love is sort of what I'm after, and I haven't really experienced it. That doesn't mean it's not out there, but I just have not really experienced it. I have experienced philia, agape, and Eros, but not Pragma, as I'm going to explain. So Pragma is what Erich Fromm has talked about. Fromm talks about falling in love and how we focus on the whole act of falling in love and the whole thing happening, and the whole Eros of everything, and how and the whole feeling of that whole thing, and the action of doing it, and the passion of falling in love, and the new, because if you have been in a new relationship, you've sort of experienced what you might have thought was falling in love, but may have turned out to be otherwise later. But I feel like that, and Fromm also talks about how divorce rates are higher, and divorce rates are sort of something that have really increased, and typically, people who get married typically will divorce. I mean, my parents got married before I was born because I was an accident, and got divorced when I was like 10, got married again, and then got divorced again, and divorce is a common thing in life. It's common because things happen, and one of the people cheats or something, or something is done which makes the relationship irreparable, or basically killing it without being able to revive it again. So there's that. So this Pragma is sort of a long-standing love, and Fromm has elaborated on this too. Pragma is a Greek word for a long-standing love. It's deeper, and it's basically the whole idea of making it work over a long period. And Fromm talks about how we shouldn't be focusing on falling in love, but more about standing in love and making love work. And personally, I do think that first, before you can do that, there has to be something huge there, first off. But in my opinion, also, making love work, and love is not really enough. You have to make it work also, but even that is still oftentimes not enough. So what I'm getting at here is that most love, in my opinion, is that hormonal oxytocin, Eros sort of thing. That's the way I see love in most most ways that people find it to be manifested. Um, Personally, I have felt more than Eros or Ophelia in one person, with which I'm currently not with, um, and sort of what has happened there is one of the person finds something wrong, which cannot be um, which cannot be um, dealt with, whether it be, it's usually about something with your family or something with you, um, and I feel like that because of that, it wasn't really supposed to be anyway. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I haven't really experienced it myself, even though I thought I had. So, the way I'm looking at the world, the way I'm looking at love right now, is that it exists in its lower forms in most cases. So, anyway, let me know what you think, and sorry about rambling.